Yo, 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 we're back.
What's good, YouTube?
Another episode of From the Stands podcast. Really quickly, we are going to be without Jack probably for the next couple weeks.
Extended period. of
Except
time.
for our
couple
next
months.
episode.
Yeah, except for our next episode, which y'all need to be sure to check that one out.
Tune in for that one for sure.
Gonna be super cool. Boys are gonna have their first athlete on the pod, so it's gonna be a huge moment for the boys. So Jaquavius will be on that episode, but got some things going on. We had to move around some days. So for the next couple months, you will see Jack. You will not see Jack, but just know he is still a part.
He's here in spirit.
He's still a part of the squad.
The original threesome will be here every week, though.
Yeah, we're back banging, baby. All right. We're going to start as we normally do on this podcast when we don't get off on tangents. We're going to start with mega moments of the week. I will go first. Not obviously the All-Star game. Y'all know my take on basketball in terms of defense, and I like to see defense played. I feel like that's a huge part of the game that is missing a lot in today's game. So the All-Star game itself will not be my mega moment, 211 to 186. That we're going to come back around to that in a little bit. My mega moment is going to be All-Star game MVP, Dame Dollar, Dame time. How this was his first ever All-Star game start is beyond me. I don't feel like for the last decade that every single season there was somebody better than Dame to start in the All-Star game.
In the West, can you name another PG that's been consistently better than Dame to start? I mean, I guess it might have been Steph all these years.
You had some of the Russ years too. Harden too, I guess.
Chris Paul.
CP3, I think, got a starter too in there. So I get it, but I mean, I feel like for years he was just overlooked because he played on one of the worst teams in basketball over the last decade. But Dame and his All-Star game MVP is going to be my mega moment. Looking at the box score here, he dropped 39, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, plus minus. He was plus 13 on the floor, 14 of 26 from the field, shot almost 50% from 3, and he took 23 threes. So made 11 of them. Pulled up from the logo.
From the half-court line.
Dude was balling all game, and just to see somebody like that who's been overlooked for so many years get their first All-Star game MVP in their first All-Star game start after winning. He won the three-point contest, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
After winning the three-point contest. Just an all-around great All-Star weekend for Dame Dollar, and it was cool to see Dame time get out there and get after it. So Dame and his just electric play style that he brought to All-Star weekend is going to be my mega moment of the week.
All right, well, for my mega moment of the week, I'm going to stick in All-Star weekend as well. It's not going to be the game. It's going to be my girl, Sabrina. I don't know how to say that.
Ionescu.
Sabrina Ionescu. Keeping up with Steph Curry. Choosing to shoot at the male three-point line instead of sticking to the WNBA regulation three-point line, making it harder on herself. And she still only lost 29-26.
To the greatest shooter of all time.
The greatest point guard of all time. And shooter of all time, Steph Curry. I mean, that was probably the highlight of All-Star Weekend, which is really saying something because most NBA fans just really don't care about the WNBA. But she stole the show. She balled out. She didn't dunk over some 5'3" YouTuber, but more on that later.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, she's my mega moment of the week.
You saw if she would have played in the actual three-point contest, she would have been tied second.
Really?
With 26.
Damn.
Yeah, I think the only person who shot more than her was obviously Steph in their competition, and then in the three-point, I'm like 99% sure it was just. I'm 99% sure it was just Dame who shot and made more threes than she did.
Well, Dame's winning score in the final round was 26.
Okay, so it must have just been. I want to find that. Where can I find the three-point contest?
You're going to find it. You want to go ahead and get yours, Lance?
My mega moment, I'm sticking, I can't talk. I'm going away from All-Star Weekend right before the weekend was here. The Golden State Warriors beat the Utah Jazz, and I'm not usually the biggest Warriors fan, But my mega moment is Klay Thompson coming off the bench.
Hell yeah.
Coming off the bench for the first time since his rookie season. This has been by far his worst season of his career. His body language is not where it needs to be. He's been playing bad basketball. His chemistry with everybody's been bad. His energy's been bad. They stick him on the bench, and in 28 minutes, he drops 35 points, 13 of 22 from the field, 7 of 13 from 3. And this team, if they want to make a run to get themselves into the playoff picture and make a run in the playoffs, they're going to need Klay, and they're going to need him to play well. So that is why he's my mega moment.
I was really happy to see him play well off the bench. The one thing I think I can...
And just the Warriors have been in such negative light all year with Klay and with Draymond attacking people. And
See, Draymond threw up the foe, too.
My thing for Klay has always been, like, he probably would have went down as a top 5 shooting guard of all time had he not tore up his knee like that. He came back. You're out of the game so long. You lose that rhythm. You know, you lose that connection that you and Steph had on the court. You're having to learn again how to move without the ball and get into space and find your spots, find where you're comfortable on the court. And not only that, he lost a lot of lateral quickness. And one of the things that set Klay apart for so many years at the shooting guard position was his defense. His ability to take on your best guy at any point in the game because he wanted to. He had that killer mentality. He wanted to be on your best guy, and he was going to guard him. He was going to play like defensive player of the year type defense. And when he came back, he lost his step in that lateral quickness department, and he just has not been the same defender. It's been really cool to see guys like that lose their ego and play to win games. Like that's something I've enjoyed so much about Russ this season. Because he got all the shit when the Lakers sucked last season. The Lakers still suck this season. It was not a Russ problem. He gets to LA. They're playing bad. They played bad basketball to end the year last year. He played pretty well without PG or Kawhi in the playoffs. Did what he could. You go into this season, they start off really bad. They trade for Harden. They're still playing bad basketball, and Russ goes, all right, you know what? I think there's too many ball handlers on the court between arguably 4 Hall of Famers. The only one really that I think is arguable is maybe PG.
Nah, he's in there.
So you got 4 Hall of Famers on one team, right? All past their prime. None of them are still in their prime. But the combined basketball IQ of those guys is light years above most of these teams in the NBA. And he goes, you know what? I want to win basketball games. It's not about me being the starter or the star or the primary ball handler. I'm going to come off the bench. And Russ right now off the bench, let's just check we'll just look at his last 10 games. He's averaging 13 and 4 and 3 in his last 10. Playing 23 minutes, shooting 44% from the field, not shooting his best from the line. But he's doing what they need him to, and he's been a great facilitator, ball handler, and playmaker with that second unit, which is something that the Clippers desperately needed. And I think Klay is going to do the same thing for the Warriors. I'm just really excited to see those guys want to win more than they care about their own stats, because to me that is the true definition of a hooper. Like, you're out there to win. It doesn't matter if you drop 30 or if you drop 13. As long as your team gets to win and you got to contribute to that, you feel good about yourself and where the team is going at the end of the day. So that's been really fun for me to watch, I think, from those guys this year. So that was a good mega moment. I'm glad you pointed that out. All right, we're going to move over to mid moments, because with the good, there's always the bad. You've got the really hot best friend, and you've normally got the really ugly one. You normally don't get 2 hot best friends. That's the same. that's the same way this pod works.
Yeah.
If we give you a good moment, we got to give you the bad moments. Does anybody have one that really stuck out to them?
Mine's just the dunk contest.
I'm
Okay.
actually going to change mine up.
All right. Well, I'll let you go first, and Joe, we'll go straight to the dunk contest.
All right. Well, the All-Star Weekend as a whole could be its own mini. Is it mini moment or is it? Yeah, mini moment. Right.
Mini mid moment.
Yeah. Okay. Mid moment of the week. It could be the whole All-Star Weekend. The game was trash. The 3-point contest, I mean, I think that was pretty good.
That was good.
I didn't get to watch it because
Trey came out. He was the first shooter. Blistering start. Made 26 at the bar high, and then I was reading about it right
I saw
here.
the headline was fucking Damian Lillard edging Trey Young. I was like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so Trey came out hot, had 26 points in the opening round, ended up tied after the first round with Hallie, Cat, and Lillard. Went to a 30-second tiebreaker to determine the finalist. They introduced the all money ball rack, and then they've got the starry rack now, which is like way behind the 3-point line. You get 2 balls; they're worth 3. Dame sank one of those in the tiebreaker and the finals. I don't know what let's see. It doesn't give me like a bracket or anything. But so basically, Sabrina Ionescu would have been tied with Trey, Hallie, Kat, and Dame, and went on to a tiebreaker to move to a finalist with her score against Steph.
Yeah. I mean, good for her. But, like, that doesn't look too good for the NBA, I'm not going to lie. Because it's not like she was shooting the WNBA. Like, if she was shooting the WNBA line where she's used to, that's one thing. But, like...
She was shooting NBA regulation
yeah.
basketballs, too.
And
she was using...
She did get to use WNBA balls?
She used the WNBA ball at the NBA 3-point line.
Are the WNBA balls bigger or smaller?
They're
A little bit smaller. A little bit, though. It's still not enough for it to really mean shit.
Yeah. But good for her. But the dunk contest as of late has been pretty much a shit show. And this year was no exception. I mean, Jaylen Brown, they missed one of his dunks. Like the first dunk he did, they just didn't televise it. They were trying to show off their LED court, and they missed it. But
well, none of his dunks were spectacular anyways.
But for some reason, the judges still sucked him off for it. I don't know why. But a dunk over at 5'3" Kai Cenat, you had to have him sit down. Like, that would make that big of a difference. You're talking about like 2 inches of height difference there.
Yeah, Kai, you're lit. We love your content, but...
Yeah, we love you, Kai.
Yeah, we love you, Kai, but you're just not normally somebody that people would like pick out of a crowd and be like, dunk over that dude.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you got Mac McClung coming out there dunking over Shaq I don't know how tall he is. How tall is Mac McClung? Like 6'2"?
Matt McClung? I have no idea how tall Mac McClung is.
A white guy.
6'2".
On the money.
On the money, baby.
A white 6'2" white guy who
is currently in the G League. I think.
I've been seeing the comments about him coming to the dunk contest. They're like, they treat this bro like a used condom.
Yeah, he's only
throw
played.
him out.
He's only played this season. He came out in a Magic jersey.
He's in the
Interesting.
He's on the Magic's G League
team. Yeah, he played 2 games in the 22-23 season. He only appeared in 2 games for Philadelphia and played 20 and a half minutes in each. He's only played 4 career games in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's coming out here dicing Jaylen Brown in the dunk contest.
I'm not a big Jaylen Brown fan as it is because he kind of sucks ass under pressure. I'm not gonna. Do you remember the finals last year where he kept turning the ball over? He had like 8 turnovers in that one game. Bro.
Yeah.
He can't dribble with his left hand.
Yeah, if you force him to go left, he's got to pass.
Yeah, but anyways, the whole slam dunk contest, I'll say that, is a mid moment of the week for me because it used to mean a lot. Like people used to watch for the dunk contest, and now
I used to love the dunk contest.
Now it's like we got this G League fucker that they just bring out for.
Hey, don't hate on Mac.
I mean,
that dude's but he's out here. He's literally probably the only reason people watch the dunk contest this
which
year.
is why it's a mid moment.
That's fair.
Because you got all these legend superstar athletes that just don't give a shit anymore. They're letting. I mean, just the ego. I mean, if I was an NBA player and there was a G League motherfucker coming up beating me at a dunk contest, I would feel some kind of way about it. If I'm like a
Supermax guy,
Supermax.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man. You're going to let this scrawny little white dude beat you out and don't
yeah,
care?
you used to have, like, people used to show up and show out for it. I mean, as far back as, like, you had MJ, and then you had Dominique Wilkins, and then you even had guys like Spud Webb
Nate
out
Robinson.
here balling in the dunk
Vince Carter.
contest. You had Vince Carter, Dwight,
Blake Griffin,
oh, dude, Blake Griffin. And
dunking
then you
over
get
that car.
even up to like recently, like 5-6 years ago, you had the back-to-back years of the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine battle, and that was fantastic. And now it's like nobody cares. I think they're going to have to add some incentives or something to some of these All-Star Game events.
Because obviously, I mean, the players don't care about winning them. So you might have to add in a monetary incentive, Jack.
I wish Jack was here for that one. All right, my mid moment is going to be an entire sport as a whole. College men's hoops, to me this year, has been a mid moment. And here's why. For so long you had, and don't get me wrong, I love some parity when it comes to any sport. It's always nice to have a large pool of people who can compete versus only 2 or 3 teams who could really win it all and everybody else is on the outside looking in. So I don't want anybody to take it like that. It has been how up and down these teams are is what is killing me. If you look at a conference like the Big 12, the 2 teams tied for first right now in the Big 12 in men's hoops are Iowa State and Houston. Both are 9-3 in conference play. Iowa State is 20-5. Houston is 22-3. The Jayhawks are 8-5 in Big 12 conference play and are 20-6 on the season. Here is what has been killing me about college basketball this season. You've got your top contenders, right? You've got your good teams. The top 4 in the Big 12. Iowa State, 15-0 at home. Houston, 14-0 at home. Baylor, 13-1 at home. Kansas, 14-0 at home. If we go away records for all 4 of those teams, Iowa State, 4-3 away. Houston, 4-3 away. Baylor, 3-3 away. 5 of the 6 Jayhawk losses have come in away games this year. 3-5 on the road. You move down to even UConn, 14-0 at home, 6-2 on the road. Marquette, 11-1 at home, 6-4 on the road. And I can go through every single one of these conferences. North Carolina, 11-1 at home, 6-2 on the road. 13-2 for Duke at home, 5-3 on the road. 14-1 for Virginia at home, 4-4 on the road. So these teams, just in these high-pressure situations, it seems like this season, the teams with more talent, the teams who should be winning these games, the teams with the more prestigious coaches, the teams with more NIL money, the true blue bloods, cannot seem to get it done on the road right now against good competition. Same Purdue, 13-0 at home. They're 23-3 on the season. All 3 of their losses have come on the road. They're 5-3 on the road. So it's not that like college basketball isn't still exciting. It's the fact that, I mean, even when we're picking these games and pick them, it's so like you might as well just flip a coin because none of these guys so far have been able to show up and get it done against good competition on the road. So I think like NIL, and I was listening to the Oklahoma State coach talk about it, how like you used to be able to, you were there all 4 years of their high school career. You talked to them. You built a relationship with them, their parents, their high school coach, right? You built a relationship. You had a scholarship to offer them. Now, you might not be John Calipari. You might have not been Mike Krzyzewski. You might have not been Roy Williams. But you built a relationship with these kids, and you were able to get some good talent still, even though you weren't like the creme de la creme on the, you weren't the upper echelon of college basketball teams. Now he was talking about it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you build with these guys or how many games you show up to or how much they like you as a coach. He's like, these guys will call you and go, Coach, I really like you. I would really love to play for you. But all you're offering me is a scholarship, and Duke is offering me $500,000 to come stay there for 9 months. I could get hurt in my freshman season, but I got that $500,000. Is what can you do? And at a school like Oklahoma State, you don't have a lot of NIL money to work with to begin with. So most of it is probably going to your football program. So you're like, hey man, all I can really offer you is, a full ride, and I can promise you that I'll get you to where you want to go. I will coach you. I will be there every step of the way. That's not good enough anymore. And somehow we're still seeing these blue bloods, the guys who are supposed to be the best of the best, still not being able to get it done in these high pressure situations on the road. So I think just not having like those guys that really look like they're gonna walk away with it this year. They're gonna go out and win it all. Not having anybody who seems like a true contender is why men's college hoops currently is a mid moment to me.
I think I'm just going to touch on this real quick and then I'll get into mine. I think it's kind of like a culmination of things. The first thing being NIL, it definitely spreads out the competition in college basketball. There's a lot more D1 teams in basketball than there are football. And I think it'll make March Madness more interesting once we get to March Madness.
Say that too.
But it's kind of watering down the regular season a little bit. There's a lot of games. These teams play 30, 35 games in the regular season. And, I mean, you got teams like Indiana State who's ranked. They haven't been ranked since fucking Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic made a Final Four run, and they've been ranked all year. It's kind of just watering it down a little bit. And the past couple years, it seems like we haven't had bona fide stars in college basketball since like the Zion days. I mean, you got Zach Edey on Purdue. Zach Edey is probably the star of college basketball, but
Him
like
or Hunter Dickinson.
I think there's not a single men's college basketball player right now that's bigger than Caitlin Clark, which is a problem.
yeah, like UConn.
Yeah, and we're not throwing shade at Caitlin Clark at all.
But men's basketball is a lot more popular than women's basketball.
It has a lot more resources than women's hoops does. Some of these teams have been around and like the shit for years now, and you can't even coach or develop these players now to be bigger than the biggest women's star. Again, that is no hate to Caitlin Clark. It's just like with all the resources that these guys have, why is there not more guys that people are like talking about? Like even just like the casual fans, like we call this the casual sports podcast for the casual sports fan. Like most casual fans of just men's hoops right now probably couldn't even, they might be able to name me Zach Edey. They might be able to name me Hunter Dickinson. But then maybe a player from their favorite team. But like
UConn's the number one team in the country.
I can't even tell you a player that plays for them.
Houston, Marquette, Arizona. All these teams are the top teams in the country. And I mean, they don't have a
bona fide, this dude's going to come out, tear up the league type of guy.
Recently, it seems like more of the studs that we see make it to the NBA are overseas or they go hop in the G League. And Adam Silver said that he's going to reassess the G League Ignite team and stuff like that because of NIL. If they get rid of it, because college has NIL now, maybe we'll see more guys.
I think we could be coming to the end of the one and done era as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that in college football. I don't think you can do it in college baseball either.
You can't. Because Dylan Cruz had to play at least 3 years at LSU before he could go to the draft.
So, yeah, and I think like Charlie Condor at Georgia.
Condon, my bad. Could have been drafted this past year. Had to go back and play his junior season because you got to play 3 years. So I think we're getting close to the end of that as well, which I think would help because college basketball is the one sport where you look at your team and year over year, you might have one out of your 5 starters from the previous year come back and play again.
Yeah.
And then with the transfer portal and everything like that, now you see guys like Hunter Dickinson, who he's still a bona fide dog, but he was the clear number one. People were talking about him for what he was doing at Michigan. Well, then you got the transfer portal. Michigan not as good at basketball in the last couple years as they had been when they went on their national championship run. Just not that great. And he's like, okay, well, I could try and help turn this program around, but I can get more money and I can compete for a national championship a little bit easier at Kansas. So let me just transfer to Kansas. And so now you're even losing some of those guys that were sticking out on, not the best teams, now just going and joining what are supposed to be the best teams, and some of these best teams still can't even get it done. So
I got a question about your star thing, because I agree that you don't see a lot of stars in college basketball anymore, but do you think it's more of a talent thing or more of a narrative thing? Because the only reason I saw anything about Zion, anything about Ja, anything about Trae Young is because they wouldn't stop posting about him on ESPN. And now all you see on ESPN is Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark when it comes to college hoops. They don't post about Zach Edey. They don't post about Hunter Dickinson.
They're not. I don't necessarily think it's a talent thing.
They haven't.
Now, I will say, I do agree with him a little bit that in recent years, in the draft, your top guys
Yeah.
have come from overseas.
Yeah. Last one was Victor, and Scoot was Ignite, right?
Scoot was Ignite, so he was G League.
The only person I think was the white guy, the cock guy. What's his name?
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to like Kansas or something.
Yeah.
5 out of the first 7 picks in the 2023 draft last year did not go to college. Wemby came from overseas. Scoot and the Thompson brothers played in the G League, and that Bilal Coulibaly guy, who was drafted 7th, was overseas. You had Brandon Miller, drafted 2nd. He went to Alabama.
Yeah.
He's been playing well this year.
And
He
Anthony Black, who got drafted by the Magic, he went to Arkansas.
I think it is partially the narrative, but Caitlin Clark just set the D1 women's record
Yeah.
for points. So I think, and she's played now, what is this, her 4th year in college?
I think so, yeah.
You
4th or
see,
5th year.
You see more women come back and play their sophomore season, their junior season, their senior season in college. So it's a little bit easier to like follow her on her journey and like see where she goes. It's a little bit easier to put her out there, and like people will gravitate towards that because they've been able to watch her grow her stardom and her game and continue to improve and make an impact on college hoops. You don't get that in men's hoops because the best players, as soon as they have their best season, if that's their freshman season, draft.
Yeah.
So you don't get to follow these guys. You don't get to see them, even guys like just because I'm a Georgia fan, it's an easy one for me. Like Carson Beck could have been drafted this year, but he feels like there is more left to be done at the University of Georgia. So he comes back to play. You do not see that in college hoops. If you had a standout season, if you were talked about, if you're a projected NBA lottery pick, or even just a first round pick, you're going to the draft. Even if you're 18, 19 years old and just played one season in college. So
I feel
it's a little bit harder to see a star.
Because even like Cooper Flag is not even at Duke yet. He's still in high school, and he's already the projected number 1 pick in the 2025 draft.
So, like, we could see him come in, dominate at Duke for one season, and then he's gone. And now you're looking for your next Cooper Flag.
Yeah, it's
And-
tough in college basketball when like Cooper Flag is the face of basketball for 1 year, and he's gone. You got to
And then he's
find
gone.
you got to find your new face of college basketball, and then you got to find this guy, and like there's
'Cause
only,
it's harder to promote because it's harder for people to, like, lock onto a player and be like, that's my dude. This is who I want to rock with. This is who I'm going to, follow throughout his college basketball career, because more than likely his college basketball career is one season.
Yeah.
So I think like NIL, again, it's hard to put it because people are going to look at it and think like I'm saying I don't like more competition in men's hoops, which is not it. It's hard to watch any league when you don't have bona fide stars that you can follow and those top teams that people want to see taken down. Like the only real team that looks like it could just run the table all the way is UConn. Maybe Purdue, but with Purdue's history, it's hard to look at Purdue and go, yeah, it's hard to look at Purdue and go, yeah, they're going to make a run this year. Damn, I need that to go away.
So I'll get into this real quick. Took a minute, but had to get into a little bit of college hoops. We're going to pro hoops. In the NFL, we got Big Cock Brock. You know all about him. And in the NBA, we got Small Cock Doc. Doc Rivers.
Damn.
We got Doc Rivers.
That was good.
After the Bucks team the players are essentially kicking Adrian Griffin out. We don't want you anymore. You suck. Apparently, you're a
30-win coach through 40 games.
You're a
trash.
locker room cancer. You can't coach this team. You can't coach these players. They bring in a certified loser in Doc Rivers, and he's coached 10 games for the Milwaukee Bucks, and they are 3-7 in their first 10 games.
Well, you can go ahead and put him on the not list because he will never join this pod after the absolute beating you're giving him right now.
We've given people worse, but after his most recent loss to the jawless Memphis Grizzlies, he said, we had some guys here. We had some guys in Cabo. So if they thought Adrian Griffin was bad for the players. I mean, Doc Rivers has already shown he's not any better.
Already calling out guys.
Already calling out guys, saying he's already got guys chilling in All-Star weekend. You're the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
You should be the 2. You should be the 2.
They asked him about his struggles, and he said, "Yeah, it's been a little harder than I thought." Like, bruh, come on now.
Literally, if they were 5-5 in their last 10, they'd be the 2 seed right now. If they were 4-6 in their last 10, they would be tied with Cleveland right now in wins. And you've got the Knicks right behind you. They're only 3 games back of you right now. Actually, like 2.5, I think, because they played one left. Yeah, game and a half. They're not far behind you. Philly's only 2 games behind you. And even when you look at a team like the Pacers, who are streaky, yes, but they're only 4 games behind you. Like you haven't even locked in a top 4 seed yet.
And I can even throw Giannis in here a little bit too in my mid moment. Not as much, but he made a quote talking about Doc, and he's like, "This is my 4th head coach in 6 seasons. It's so tough." But like,
yeah, Giannis has started to become a little bit of a GM to me.
Giannis obviously is the star of Milwaukee. He obviously has some say in what goes on with that organization. And they all pushed Adrian Griffin out when
Mike Budenholzer should have never been fired to begin with. Never been fired to begin with. I think that's I'll let you finish your mid moment, and then I got something I want to bring.
It's about wrapped up, but it doesn't seem like they're coming into the second half of the NBA season. They're coming into they've played 56 games, so they got 26 left. The last 26 games, they're coming in with no momentum. They're below 500 on the road, and let me see if they still got some. They still have to play. Their first 2 games after this are at Minnesota and at Philly. They play the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers again, the Kings, the Sixers again, the Suns, the Celtics, all back-to-back.
Yeah, it's going to be
So
rough.
they do not have an easy stretch.
They play the Thunder 2 more times. They play the Celtics 2 more times. They play the Knicks. They play the Magic a couple more times. It's a tough last 26 games. If they don't figure it out, they might be in the play-in. They literally might be in the play-in. So
yeah, I mean, you got even Miami's won 30 games. Miami and Orlando right now are the 7 and 8 seed, and they both won 30 games. They're only sitting 4.5 back currently of the Bucks.
I'm telling you, Miami's
3rd place seed.
Miami's going to be in the finals, man.
So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Something I wanted to pivot to because this was some breaking news pretty much as soon as we sat down at this table today. The struggling Nets have fired their head coach, Jack Vaughn. The Nets are 21-33. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They currently sit 2.5 games out of the play-in behind my beloved 24-31 Atlanta Hawks. The NBA has become so impatient that it has become tough to watch. I mean, Jack Vaughn has now, if we look at Nets coaching history, I think Jack Vaughn has been there for 2 seasons. All right, so Jack Vaughn took over as coach in 2023. So last year. His current record in the regular season as Nets head coach is 64-65. So sitting at 500. 0-4 in the postseason. Yeah, they got swept last year by...
They've gotten swept like 4 out of the last 5 playoffs.
Before then, 21-23 was the Steve Nash experiment with
the big 3.
The big 3 that never played. He was 94-67 and 7-9 in the post. Never had anybody but KD to play with. Then in 2020, Jack Vaughn was an interim coach for 10 games, went 7-3 in the regular season, 0-4 in the post again. Before that, Kenny Atkinson, 17-20. He was pretty bad, 118 and 190 in the regular season. Tony Brown for interim in 16 after Lionel Hollins, 15-16. After Jason Kidd got 1 year in 2014, went 44-38, won 5 games in that postseason. They played 12 total games that postseason. Fired. PJ Carlesimo was only the coach in 2013. Again, as an interim guy, went 3-4 in the postseason. Avery Johnson for 2 years, had three coaches in 2010. Like, the NBA has become so impatient. How is a guy supposed to, like, when we talk about the NFL, what's one of the most important things we talk about that a coach needs time to build when you get to a new team?
Culture.
A culture. Without that coach's culture, you have no idea what he can do.
Yeah.
How in, what did I just say, one season, this was his second season as Nets head coach, coming off one of the biggest colossal failures in pro sports history and the experiment of the Big Three. How is this guy supposed to do anything when when his whole team has just been pieced together by trades of dumping guys that you signed to max deals that never showed up on the court for you, never played? What is he supposed to do? What do you expect him to do? He's only 2.5 games out of the play-in, and the Nets' current depth chart.
They don't have depth after their starting lineup is okay.
Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Nick Claxton. Their second string right now, if you had to put in the whole second team to play some minutes, Dennis Schroeder, who is averaging not bad. Okay, he's averaging 13 and 6. He's playing better than I thought he was. Then you got guys like Lonnie Walker, Jalen Wilson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Daron Sharp. Ben Simmons is averaging 7, 6.5, and 8.5, so he's really only on the court right now for rebounds and assists. Cam Thomas is averaging 21, but on 44% shooting. 2.5 assists, 3 rebounds, so he's not really providing you much else besides scoring. Mikal Bridges is your most well-rounded player. He's averaging 22, almost 4, and 5 on 45% shooting. But that's your star. The star of that Nets team right now is averaging 22, 4, and 5. Like, even a team like the Hawks, who's right above you at the 10 seed, has a bona fide star at Trae Young, who's top 10 in points, top 5 in assists. And then they have DeJounte Murray, who's averaging pretty much the same numbers as the Nets star in Mikal Bridges right now. 14, 2.5, and 4.5 for Cam Johnson. And then Nick Claxton, love him. He's a Georgia boy. He can't score the rock. He is a defensive center by every stretch of the imagination. He's averaging 12 on 62.5% shooting, which is 7th best in the league. Only averaging 2 assists. He's averaging 10 boards, which is right outside the top 10. So you just don't have a ton to work with in a league that's so star-studded with so many teams that not only have one star, but have 2 stars. What did you expect him to do?
The Nets recently, like the last 5 years of the Nets, have seemed like, for some reason, very impatient, like trying to make the splashiest move. Like, I don't know if it's because
tons of teams are like that. That's the problem with the NBA right now.
Yeah, but the Nets specifically recently, like
the Nets, the Clippers, the Suns.
But for the Clippers and Suns, it's actually worked out. For the Nets,
to an extent, I mean the Clippers haven't made it past. The Clippers haven't made a Western Conference Finals yet since Kawhi got there. I don't believe.
I don't think so.
The Suns went to a chip, lost, went to the Western Conference Finals, lost, and then last year the wheels fell off. The Nets never did anything in the playoffs. The Sixers trade for James Harden, does nothing. The Bucks go out and trade for Dame. Then after they win 30 games in the regular season, force their coach out. The Nets give their coach nothing to work with. Only give him a season and a half of experience. They gave him 129 games to prove what he can do with all the roster turnover and issues that they've had. And then you trade your best wing guy in Spencer Dinwiddie for a bag of chips. So that's my problem with the NBA right now is it's so like win now. If you don't win this season, this guy's going to get traded. We're going to have to find a new coach, all these things. And it's like you've got to give these guys time to implement their systems and the way that they want their guys to play basketball and the culture that they want in the locker room. Like Shit, you do not turn a franchise around in one season. Very rarely do you do that. It doesn't happen. That's been my issue with the NBA here recently. It's just how impatient these guys are. Is that just a nod of a nod of agreement?
I mean, I don't know what to say. I agree.
So talking a little bit more about the NBA, bear with us, guys. This is a little bit of we're trying to get our NBA bearings about us. We've been so NFL heavy for the last several months that it is a little tough to kind of pivot back.
Yeah, we're big fans watching grown men whack each other hard.
I do like the way the West is shaping up. The Western Conference playoffs are going to be very fun to watch.
Maybe.
I
thought they were going to be good last year too, and it was just a Nugget show pretty much.
I don't think it's going to be that this year. There's too many talented teams in the West this year that have actually, and normally we can say that and then it doesn't show up on the court. I could see any of the top 5 seeds right now making a run and winning the finals.
What about the 9th seed?
No shot. I don't think any of the 4 play-in teams have a chance at making a run.
No?
I
mean, Steph or LeBron might be able to will their teams to a really close second round, but the Lakers and the Warriors both just lack depth so much that they're not going to be able to compete with some of these teams. I mean, if you look at the Lakers depth chart right now, D'Lo, Austin Reeves, who came back down to earth, averaging 16, 5, 5.5, and 4. So I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but I mean, people had this like huge expectation of what he was going to do and everything. He was going to be a top 10 point guard or shooting guard in the league. Like Bron was going to turn in. No, it hasn't happened. He is a good NBA shooting guard. He's not a baller by any means. Damn. D'Lo is playing okay, 17.5, 6 and 3. The main stars of that team right now are LeBron and AD, and you got Rui. Their depth, though, right now is horrendous. Backup point guard is Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't hate that because he does bring a defensive presence to that second unit. Their current second and third string shooting guards, Max Christie and Cam Reddish, are both out. Their second string small forward is Cam Reddish, out. Their backup power forward is Taurean Prince.
Yeah.
And their backup center right now is Jackson Hayes, who is averaging 3.5, half an assist, and 2.3 rebounds. They just don't have any depth. Same thing with the Warriors. The Warriors also have no depth. If you look at the Warriors depth chart,
They got Chris Paul.
there's not a lot of depth from those two teams. Like I said, I think Steph and LeBron's ability to show up and be huge in the playoffs is always going to be there. As long as they lace them up and step on the court, you can't deny that either one of them has the ability to pull through for their team. But I think with the depth of those top 5 seeds and just the star power that they have, I don't think either one of them is going to be able to make a run this year.
I think if the season ended today, and I think the playoffs will be a lot better because some of the top teams in the West, like the Timberwolves and the Thunder, are playing good ball, but they don't have a lot of playoff experience. And like all these teams are talented. Like looking at these series, the T-Wolves against the Kings, I think that would be a good series. I think that series goes like 6 games because the Kings made a run last year and they got Fox and Monk
And
Sabonis. And the T-Wolves are good, but they don't have a whole lot of experience. The Mavericks and the Thunder, I think, would be a very good series.
Yeah.
The Thunder,
SGA versus Luka. Let's play off cinema.
and then the Clippers and the Pelicans. I think the Clippers would whoop that ass. I think
Yeah, that'd be the only sweep.
that'd
I
be the
think.
only series that's like, eh. And then the Nuggets and the Suns. I think
Would be a great series.
the Nuggets lost
Rematch.
the Nuggets lost a key role player last year that I think is hurting them a little bit in the depth department, and that's Bruce Brown.
Shut up.
I'm for real. I think I'm not saying he's like the.
He was not a key role player.
Yes, he was.
No, he was. He averaged like 5 minutes in
In the
last year's
playoffs.
playoffs.
He did
Bruce
not.
Brown. I'm thinking of Reggie Jackson.
Yes,
My bad.
Bruce
My
Brown-
bad. Bruce Brown was important to them in that playoff run.
Yes.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
and he's hurting their depth a little bit, which is why I think they're down to the 4 seed. And the Suns, I feel like, have gotten a little bit better this year with Beal. If Beal can be healthy in the playoffs,
They're
that's-
7-3 in their last 10, and KD is balling this season. KD was like, all right, I'm healthy. I got a good team. Let me come remind you who
honestly,
the fuck I am.
I probably would prefer to see the Lakers and the Warriors miss the playoffs because I think if that 8 was how it shaked out right now, I think that would be a very good Western Conference playoffs.
KD's averaging 28, 5.5,
I
and
think
6.5 on
I think-
54% shooting.
I think the later rounds in the Eastern Conference will be better, but I think a couple first round
Rounders are
matchups
going to be.
like Celtics Magic. I think the Magic have given the Celtics a little bit of trouble in the regular season, but
Yeah.
in the playoffs, I think the Celtics they're probably winning in 5. Cavs against the Heat could be interesting, but
I think Cavs
Heat
and Heat are
clapping.
going to be it's going to be a good series.
Heat are winning. Cavs.
I
are
think
only
the
up
Heat
there
will
'cause they've
win,
been on an easy stretch.
But I think watching Spida and playoff Jimmy go at it is going to be very fun to watch.
and then Bucks Pacers, I think would be a very good series. The Pacers now have Siakam who can play up against Giannis, and I think that'll be fun to watch. And then, dude, Knicks against the Sixers with Embiid back in the playoffs would be absolute cinema.
Julius Randle shit in the bed
Ty-
again.
Tyrese Maxey against Jalen Brunson in the playoffs.
Two just dogs, two guys with that killer mentality. It's going to be fun to watch. My team to watch in the West is definitely going to be the Suns.
The Suns.
KD's averaging 28. Book is averaging 27.5. 7 assists, which is 10th in the league, and 4.5 boards. They are both playing really good basketball. They both know what it takes to win in the playoffs. They both have that clutch gene. And when Beal is on the court right now, he has played 9 of their last 10. In their last 10, in the 9 games that he has played, he's averaging 19, 5.5, and 4 on 47% shooting. You can't really ask for much more than that from him. He doesn't need to be he doesn't even have to be the 2 option. You've got 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You've got
Bradley Beal's injury status is just such a perfect description of his year so far this year. Beal, hamstring, recently underwent a procedure to address his broken nose.
Damn.
he's had a tough time staying on the court this year, but you've got somebody with that who everybody has said has Mamba mentality since he got into the league, and Devin Booker. And you've got arguably the greatest scorer of our generation in Kevin Durant, who is looking to like cement that legacy with another team, getting another chip.
I think my team to watch would be,
It's them or the Clips.
I was going to say the Clips. I just,
Those are also the 2 teams that I am rooting for the most in the West.
Yeah, I feel like the Clips is like it's like last chance you for these guys. 'Cause
And it's
like
all the
4 guys that we all watched, and now this is like their last opportunity to get 1 ring together. As
Yeah,
a bunch of
like-
old men.
The T-Wolves window is wide open
mm-hmm.
for the next 5-6 years to win a chip. With Anthony Edwards, Cat is still in his prime. Rudy Gobert is still playing good defense. They're going to have the opportunity to add another piece or 2.
Mm-hmm.
The OKC's championship window right now, as long as these guys don't ask for too much money and they can keep Chet and SGA and Giddey and, use these draft picks to maybe get one more guy, their championship window is wide ass open. You could drive a Mack truck through their championship window right now.
It's just everyone on
The
their
Clips right now,
everyone
it's
on
very
their
small.
team, everyone on their team plays good. SGA is a dog, already a top 5 point guard in the league.
top 3.
Josh Giddey's a good role player. Lou Dort plays very good defense from the 3 spot.
And if Wemby didn't exist, Chet Holmgren would be the lock for
And even their 4,
rookie of the year.
Jalen Williams is the 4 on their depth chart. He's a little bit smaller. He might be kind of like a hybrid guy. He's only 6'5". But this just a 22-year-old Jalen Williams. He's averaging 19, 4, and 4.5.
Could be the number 2 option on some teams right now.
And so, yeah, they're going to be good for a while. My real team, my team to
My
watch.
feel-good story, though, would be the Clippers. I think there's so many good storylines on that team. So I cut you off. I'll finish mine in a second. Go ahead.
My team to watch is going to be the Sixers with no Embiid.
Okay. As
They're-
in team to watch if they fall apart, or team you still think could do something without Embiid?
Just team to watch for this last stretch of the season
Okay.
to see what happens. Do they hold it down and
And keep a top 6.
keep a top 4 seed, keep home field advantage or home court advantage in the playoffs with no Embiid? They're already down to the 5 seed. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Do they fall to a play-in spot and have to will their way to a play-in spot to get Embiid in the playoffs?
Yeah, like do they have to play those playing games without Embiid?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting to see. I definitely, maybe not for the second half of the season to watch so much because they're 7-3 in their last 10. My team that I'm going to be pulling for, rooting for, and watching the most is going to be the Clippers. You've got Kawhi Leonard. What a damn story that would be. Comes into the league, his rookie season, I believe it was, plays the Miami Heat Big Three, beats them with the Spurs, spanks them with the Spurs, wins Finals MVP. Believe he won Rookie of the Year that year. Also believe he won Defensive Player of the Year that year. Absolutely balling. Then plays with the Spurs for a little bit. They really messed him up with some of those injuries and not taking proper care of him. You get him out of there, he goes to Toronto. Wins a chip with Toronto. Just goes on a magical run with Toronto. That shot against the Sixers will go down
one of my
as
favorite shots ever.
it,
The
it
crouch and everything.
it's one of the most infamous shots in NBA history. Wins the chip there. If he goes on to his 3rd team and wins the finals, that's like the upper echelon of legacy shit.
That would be like what? Just him. I mean, I know him and LeBron. I don't know if anybody else that's like big has done that.
Not that I can think of. Then you've got a guy in PG who could have been the face of the league or right up there with them if he doesn't. That just heinous, absolutely atrocity of a leg injury.
There's only 4 players in NBA history to have won championships with 3 different teams. John Sally, he was drafted in 1986. He won with the Pistons, the Bulls, and the Lakers. LeBron, Robert, I think it's
Ori.
Robert Horry, and Danny Green.
Oh, I forgot about Danny Green.
So there's only one like guy
Star.
who did it as,
Robert Horry was pretty good though.
but like as the main guy or like a top 2 guy on his team. LeBron's the only one who's done it so far. And you know how I feel about the bubble ring, but that's just me. Yeah, just to see PG get a ring after everything he's been through in his career, to see Harden win a ring after
I'd be most excited to see Russ win one.
that would be after Russ had 2 opportunities. They go to the finals. They're so young. That team is so young, and it gets beat by one of the best super teams the league's ever seen in prime LeBron, prime D Wade, and prime Chris Bosh, with Ray Allen, with all the key role guys that they had. And then you go back to the Western Conference Finals the year after. You look like you've got a really good shot, and then you blow a 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and then KD goes,
Yeah.
see you later, Russ, and goes and joins Golden State. And then you get shit on pretty much for the rest of your career so far for being the cancer everywhere, and everywhere you leave, people end up realizing it wasn't your damn fault to begin with. Love to see Russ get a ring. I would love to see Harden get a ring. I know to so many people he's been that villain. He was the only reason the Houston Rockets were relevant in the mid-2010s. Playing MVP ball year in, year out, and never having no help in the playoffs. He got Chris Paul. Chris Paul was injured for their best chance at a run.
He got John Wall.
He got John Wall.
He got Trevor Ariza.
John Wall couldn't stay healthy. Then he had Russ, and they were both still in their prime, and it was two egos fighting too hard.
And the rest of
To
that
wanna-
team was trash.
Hey, Exactly.
Him and Chris Paul didn't get along either, though.
No, they didn't.
'Cause-
Chris Paul doesn't get along with a
But
lot
the
of
prob-
You
the
seen
problem-
videos of him twisting his nipple and shit. Harden used to give CP3 titty twisters, bro.
Oh.
The problem with CP3 in the Harden era, though, was that they had a chance that one year to beat Golden State, and then Chris Paul got hurt at the beginning of that Western Conference Finals or right before it, and it just became James Harden again,
Yeah.
out there having to score 50 a night to keep the team in it. So I think he's gotten too much hate his entire career. And I just think those are four guys that really like made me love basketball.
I didn't know that series went to 7 games.
Sure did. James Harden was out there willing that team to win.
Well, a lot of people also thought Harden was lying about the Sixers. I don't know if it's I think it's the
Daryl
Sixers
Morey.
GM, yeah.
Daryl Morey.
But then it came out. I mean, everyone's starting to realize this dude's kind of like a fat ass douchebag.
Yeah,
Morey?
after the
Yeah.
Pat Bev shit.
Yeah, after the Pat Bev thing.
Yeah. So I just think those are four guys. Well, three guys. Kawhi has his rings. Kawhi's legacy is already cemented.
Yeah.
Those are three guys who when you talk about deserve a ring, it's really hard across all sports to be like that guy deserved one because only one team at the end of the year can win it. Those three guys deserve a ring. They have done everything in their power to get them, and they have just come up short because of less talented teams and not having the supporting cast that they needed. Those three guys deserve a ring. All four of those guys are guys that made me fall in love with the game of basketball and love the NBA and watch the NBA. That would be such a feel-good story, and that window is rapidly closing on their ability to win a chip right now. So that would be my feel-good team.
I want to see D-Book win a ring, but
I want to see D-Book get his too, but I don't think that the KD Beal Book show will be Book's last chance at a ring.
no, he's still got some time.
He's still got plenty. He's 27, I think. Like he's just now kind of entering the prime of his career. And he probably won't be a Sun for life anyways.
Probably not.
He'll end up, once KD's done, he'll end up somewhere else.
He'll go to the Lakers.
I also think they could make a run at it again
Oh, I
next
was
year with a
watching,
fully healthy Beal.
I was watching the Pat McAfee show earlier this week, and they had Kendrick Perkins on, and Kendrick Perkins said he's not going to release the information, but apparently he has insider info that a star
Is headed to LA
is headed to
this summer.
LA this offseason.
Yeah.
He said, he didn't say who it was going to be, but he said it's the perfect fit for Anthony Davis.
Interesting.
So you're
So
thinking a point guard with good pick and roll ability? Let me see. I mean, he'd have to be talking about a free agent, no?
Maybe Trae Young.
He's not a free agent. I told you, we're not trading him.
So what is it going to be, the 2024?
If we trade him, nobody will buy tickets to Hawks games. It's the only
No.
reason people show up. Clay will be a free agent. Tobias Harris. Could be talking about Harden. Siakam will be a free agent. DeMar DeRozan will be a free agent. Buddy Hield will be a free agent. D'Lo, Markelle Fultz.
Maybe he talking about a trade.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, because I don't really see any like big name guards on this list. I mean, like the biggest name guard that's going to be the two most established guards in the league that'll be free agents is Clay entering his age 35 entering his age 35 season, and Harden entering his age 35 season.
maybe like a Malik Monk type player. Maybe they move off of D'Lo and give Monk the starting job.
That's not. I mean,
I wouldn't call him a star. I don't know what Perk is talking about, but
maybe Perk off of Perk.
All right, well, okay. Here's where it could get interesting. Heard a lot of talk about PG to the Lakers. He's not going to be unrestricted, but he does have a player option at the end of the season.
okay.
So he could be a free agent. Drew Holiday has a player option with Boston. That's a perfect pick and roll guy for AD.
And he plays good defense.
Didn't they play together in New Orleans?
Maybe.
Drew and AD?
Yeah, I think they did. So I think that's the right. OG Anunoby.
He's more of a forward, I think.
He's a 3, but he'll have a player option. KCP. It could be. I mean, they could be talking about another Russ reunion.
Basically,
He has a player
hearing,
option.
Basically, all I'm hearing is the Lakers are going to win another chip.
And then restricted free agents. I think restricted free agents, you got only Tyrese Maxey will be a restricted free agent. And that's really like the only big name guy that'll be a restricted free agent. So I mean, if I had to take a guess, I would be thinking Perk is pointing fingers at PG. But if that
doesn't
big
sound,
three, big four wins the ring
that doesn't sound like the perfect fit for Anthony Davis, though.
No, that doesn't sound like a great fit for PG either. And to move from one LA team to the other, I just don't think that's something. I don't see PG doing that. I don't know. Maybe he is talking about a trade. I just don't know who's going to be on the.
He talking about Drew.
I don't know who's going to be on the block like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do not agree with Perk, though, when he says that he thinks LeBron staying in LA is his best chance at another ring.
No.
I think LeBron's best chance at another ring this season would have been to go team up with Steph.
You think? You don't think it would have been for him to go back to Cleveland?
And there was no talks of those trades, and I think Cleveland would have had to give up one of their pieces that would have been vital to them making that run. I think the Warriors could have got away with draft picks, maybe like a young guy or two, but you put Steph at 1. Who's the 2 right now? Podziemski. Then you got LeBron at the 3, Dre at the 4, and then I guess Looney at the 5. The only place you're really undersized at is the center, but I think LeBron and Dre kind of make up for that in the front court.
LeBron and Draymond on the court at the same time is a recipe for disaster.
And then you got the best point guard of all time.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
I think
Draymond.
that team's much better than the Lakers.
Draymond drooling on the court.
No, Draymond said he didn't want LeBron, I thought.
Draymond texted Rich Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's what he said. Oh, he said he didn't want to trade Kuminga for LeBron.
He wants LeBron.
He was texting Rich Paul, bring LeBron over here.
Dude, I saw so Rich Paul is Bijan's agent.
Yeah.
Bijan was out partying after the Super Bowl with LeBron. Yeah, that shit was pretty cool.
Pictures of that.
That shit was funny. That's cool too. Like, it's completely off topic, but he's been in like so many ads and stuff already for the NFL. Like, they're already kind of pushing him out there. It'll be cool for Atlanta to have another like bona fide.
Yeah, imagine
Star.
if they just had a quarterback. It'd be crazy.
I know, right? They would be like playoff contenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those commercials with Bijan and Jaden Daniels are going to go crazy.
I'm not going to hate it. I just don't want to have to like give up a ton to move up.
I'll be the world's biggest Falcons fan with you.
Yeah. Remember the last LSU Heisman? He's done pretty well.
He has done pretty well.
When he's on the field.
He's made a Super Bowl.
That's my only drawback of Jaden Daniels is that his rookie year he's going to end up with like Anthony Richardson.
I mean, he didn't have any. He got pounded in college and he got right back up.
Yeah, but the NFL guys hit even harder and they hit you.
But didn't Burrow get hurt at Ohio State in college? I thought he did.
He didn't play much at Ohio State though.
I know he got hurt a little bit at LSU.
My problem with Jaden is the way he plays in college is not going to translate to the NFL.
No, but
He cannot take those same hits in the NFL. And
no, but I think
expect to play.
I think that's a fairly like I don't think it's going to be like
I think it's going to be tougher to get out of his DNA than you think it is. Because we thought the same thing with Anthony Richardson, who was built like damn Cam Newton this year.
he's only played like 6 games total though.
Who AR?
he had like one college season worth of starts in his career.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Jaden Daniels has been in college for like 5 years.
He had like a
Yeah, but he is a top 5 pick right now based on
so is Anthony
one
Richardson.
season.
Put him in the right system.
I'm not saying he can't be good. You're not.
If you compare the college seasons though, Jaden Daniels is like.
Yeah,
blows
that's not what I'm
Anthony
talking
Richardson
about. I'm
out of
talking
the
about they have the same play style. And we saw Anthony Richardson come out and not be able to adapt and slide like you have to, even though AR is much bigger than Jaden Daniels. He's only like an inch taller, I think, but that boy is thick. He's built like Cam Newton. Like just a thick. He's built like Cam Newton. He's built like a rock.
Yeah.
And he comes out 4 games in, has to have season-ending surgery. That's my only concern with Jaden Daniels right now. is that he's going to get if he does not learn how to slide and they can't get that out of his DNA, he's going to have a welcome to the league moment.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's not going to be enjoyable for him or the fans of the team that he is playing quarterback for. That's my only issue.
A lot of people thought that about Lamar, though.
Lamar is one of one.
The Falcons' O-line is
Yeah, we got a pretty solid O-line.
pretty solid
Yeah,
O-line?
it's pretty solid O-line. We had like one of the best rookie tackles
Bergeron, yeah, was pretty good.
in the league this year. Jake Matthews is just Iron Man. He's a stud. And then you've got Caleb McGarry. He's pretty solid. We could shore up the. Hold on, let me tell you. Our center Drew Dahlman is he's pretty bad. We could use a new center. Not a big fan of Drew Dahlman, but we're solid on the left side. We got one of the best left sides of the offensive line in the NFL. Bergeron is a certified dog at left guard, and Jake Matthews is just Iron Man at left tackle. He started like 140 straight games. On the right side, Chris Lindstrom is a dog, and Caleb McGarry is serviceable at right tackle. The only thing we could really use is our center Drew Dahlman is not my favorite.
How do you feel about Jimmy G getting that suspension?
I didn't actually read too much into it. I just saw it was for
I think it
Pez.
ruins his chance of ever being a starter again.
It was it wasn't like a PED. It was a medication that he did not let, he didn't let the NFL know that he was taking that medication.
Okay.
And so he didn't get an exemption from it. I don't know what kind of medication it was.
Kind of stupid, but at the same time, like,
he
you
didn't-
know this. It's your job to report it
Yeah.
to the league, and if you don't, like, I'm not gonna feel bad for you.
It's said to be related to him using a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption from the league.
You got to report that shit, man. They tell you this, you know this. You've got a whole team of lawyers and NFLPA guys.
But before that, people were saying, if this dude took PEDs and he got outplayed by Aiden O'Connell, maybe we should take that PED off the banned list.
I think it ruined his chances of being a starter anywhere this
I
upcoming
think his
season.
chances were already ruined.
I think.
I don't
yeah,
think they were
just how bad he
completely
was.
ruined. I think he still had a shot to compete considering the Raiders' current QB room.
He could have played on a team like
If Kirk leaves the Vikings, that's a good fit for like the Vikings currently. At least somebody with experience that could throw just air balls to Justin Jefferson.
he could have played on like a team that needs a couple years to just try and bridge the gap between quarterbacks.
Like a Tennessee, maybe
Tennessee, if they didn't draft Levis, maybe like
the Pats.
the Giants, the Commanders, maybe if they didn't
The
want to draft a
Pats.
quarterback. Yeah, the Patriots.
I saw some interesting trade, and it was just like, do you think the ESPN posted? Do you think the Browns should do this? Trading Deshaun for Danny Dimes.
I think you're gonna get the same performance either way,
Yeah, but Danny Dimes is $100 million cheaper.
and not a rapist.
Bingo.
Do you think the Giants would even be wanting to consider that trade? Like, would they take Deshaun?
I don't know.
I don't think
I have
so.
no idea.
Because they would have to pick up the rest of the guaranteed money on that contract, right? Or would
Yeah.
they? Or would
Yeah. Well, it depends on how the
How
deal
it's
is structured
structured.
and everything. All right, I really gotta
I do
pee.
too.
That ghost is getting me. So
If you can't tell, we're waiting on football to come back already.
y'all continue to talk without me, so I can get out of this.
We'll probably just cut this part out.
Nah, we can keep going because I don't want to have to go through and find it. It's gonna take me forever, like legit forever. But Steelers should try to acquire Justin Fields.
I've heard the
Corey,
Steelers are the new favorite to acquire Justin Fields from the Bears.
Honestly, I'm not mad about it.
It's just, I don't know what the Bears are going to do because we've heard all these rumors, but we have heard nothing from anyone Bears related about.
Which is intentional.
I mean, we've got the draft in 2 months, so they have 2 months to continue thinking about it. If I'm the Bears, I don't get rid of him
I wouldn't either, but
'Cause
based
that-
on all the
'cause
reports,
Ca-
it seems
'cause-
like they want to.
because drafting Caleb doesn't solve the Bears' problems.
No, but
I mean, maybe draft. The only reason I would draft Caleb is because it would make the Bears more money. The Bears would make more money having Caleb at quarterback than Justin.
Like as far as fans coming to watch the game.
Fans coming to watch the game, they would have more media exposure just because
It's because of the name.
the name and Caleb Williams' personality. He's more outspoken. He's more out there than Justin. So they would be,
But
They would be-
hasn't Caleb already come out and said though that he doesn't want to play for the Bears?
I believe so.
Because I think that was his thing. He was waiting to see if the Bears were going to get the first overall pick.
Yeah, he might have had a little bit of a change of heart though after seeing the way they finished the season, and the trade they made for Montez Sweat made the defense better, and they've got a chance to go out and get Caleb, and then not only he has a surefire number one in DJ Moore,
Yeah.
but with a 9 pick they can turn around and get him a surefire number 2, and then just in the later rounds, address maybe a little bit of the offensive line. Maybe try to find another DN to put on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. And maybe go sign another DB in free agency.
I don't think going from Justin to Caleb solves any problems. I think they're just.
I think it's a lateral move, in my opinion.
Cheaper lateral move, though.
But I think that is where they're at right now. Is they either have to decide that Justin is their guy and pay him, or they can take the number 1 pick, which they hope to not have again for a long time, and draft who everybody for 2 years now has considered the next big thing in the NFL.
the next Patrick Mahomes.
You take him, you keep him cheap for the next 3-4 years, and you've still got some draft capital, and you've made some good, signings and trades.
Are they because are they going to have
to
to
get
pay?
better.
Are they going to have to pay Justin Fields this offseason or next offseason?
I thought it was this one.
I think it's
but
this one.
He was he was drafted in 21. He was drafted with Trevor. So he played
Because he was.
21 season, 22 season, 23. Yeah.
So this would be his last
His
season
current
on his
contract.
rookie- This would be his last rookie deal season.
Yeah.
2024. He signed his deal in 2021. It was a 4-year deal, $11 million signing bonus. He made $660 his rookie year, $825 in 22, $1.185 last year, and he's set to make $1.6 this year. Cap hit of $6 million this upcoming season.
So they could get away with one more season to Justin, but I don't know if they're because they're going to have to pay him after this year. If they draft Caleb, they don't have to pay their quarterback for another 4.
Yeah.
They just avoid having to deal with that next year.
And you can
If
get you a wide receiver in the draft, and then you've got some money to spend on shoring up that defense.
And you get some
'Cause they
capital
just-
for trading.
because they
And
just
you get
got
some
rid of
capital for trading.
they
Fields.
just got rid of Eddie Jackson.
Yeah,
So-
which I thought was a very, very odd move. 2-time Pro Bowler, been pretty much the rock of that Bears defense for the last 7 seasons. Losing Roquan, losing Khalil Mack. I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me, but they know more than we do. I think they're going to draft Caleb at this point.
I think it makes more sense.
It does, in the sense of what you can build around him, and you're getting pretty much the same quarterback.
Yeah.
A dual threat guy.
I think they're at the same like right now. I think they're about the same talent level, but I think Caleb has more
Caleb has a higher,
higher
ceiling,
for sure.
especially with that organization. I just think with the coaching changes, the coordinator changes, getting kind of benched almost partially this season, Bears fans hating you and then loving you and then hating you. I just don't. At this point, I think Fields needs a change of scenery to really thrive. I think the potential is still there.
Yeah.
But you get essentially the same quarterback, just with the ability to build a better team around him if you go and draft Caleb. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think the Bears GM kind of knows that he needs to make a splashy move, something to give fans,
To save his job.
yeah, something to give fans to cheer for again. And if nothing else, even if the Bears are still kind of bad next year, it'll be a lot easier on him to keep his job if it's with Caleb Williams
Then with Justin.
than with Justin. And Atlanta wants Justin.
Pittsburgh wants Justin.
Give us Justin. Let me look at the rumors real quick and see what
Pittsburgh's gonna get Justin Fields. Atlanta's gonna get Russell Wilson.
I take Russ over anybody I got on the team currently.
Yeah. You just gotta pay him.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh's going to have to pay Justin.
That would be such an interesting move. Russ in Atlanta just seems off.
Bleacher Report, NFL rumors. Steelers not eyeing Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, veteran starting quarterbacks. The Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly not looking to sign a veteran quarterback to start over Kenny Pickett next season. According to Gary Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, the Steelers want to give Pickett one more season to see if he can establish himself as a long-term starter, and they don't want to disrupt it by creating a quarterback controversy.
Yeah, I know that's what they're going to do.
Per Dulac, that likely means the Steelers won't pursue Kirk Cousins in free agency or a trade for Chicago Bears quarterback Justin Fields. They reportedly also aren't likely to trade for Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson or sign him should the Broncos cut him.
And there are reports coming out that half of the Steelers players don't want Mason Rudolph to start over Pickett.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like, nope. This is our guy.
Mr. Unlimited.
We already cut Mitch the bitch, man. Which I'm glad. They should have cut him the day after they signed him. But
So, well, that was just, I said Fields rumors and it didn't give me anything. Thank you, Bleacher Report. But it doesn't look like it doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
Justin or Kenny?
Kenny.
Yeah, he's not.
Fansided says that Justin Fields is unlikely to remain a Bear, which we all know. According to Benjamin Albright, Chicago is locked in on Caleb Williams at number 1.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Justin Fields goes to Atlanta. Because I know Pittsburgh's not going to make a move like that.
Falcons quarterback coach TJ Yates said Desmond Ridder can absolutely grow, but he has to improve.
Raheem Morris came out and said he does not think that our quarterback is currently in-house. And according to...
Oh, he said that?
Pretty sure I read something about it. I thought you told me. This was posted yesterday. It says Falcons are seen as the favorite for Kirk. If he doesn't return to the Vikings, sportsbooks have thoughts on where he'll go. They're thinking the Falcons, though notably the Vikings are still the favorite team. Behind the Falcons, the Commanders and Raiders are viewed as teams with chances as well. And then it says Russ has suitors. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reported on SportsCenter that he has several teams interested in him. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think the next 2 months are really going to heat up. I just want somebody. Give me Kirk, Fields, or Wilson. But if we go into the year next year with Desmond Ridder again, it's going to be unbearable to watch. He's just got issues that I don't think he'll ever be able to correct on the field. I don't think it's gonna happen. Just don't think it's gonna happen.
And y'all's schedule ain't easy next year.
No, it's not.
You got to play the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Chargers,
Yeah.
the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Steelers, the Vikings. You're going to need a quarterback. But I think if y'all get a quarterback, you should win the division.
Nah, not if Tampa Bay keeps Baker. The dog.
Mike Evans might leave.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
But I think that about wraps it up for us today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that about does this. It says the Falcons have only had, between Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot, have had limited talk so far about the quarterback position.
They still got a couple months to figure some things out.
So we will see. Please get me one. Please just get me somebody. Please. I'm begging you. I can't go through another season of Ridder. Okay. This episode will be out this Thursday at 10. This Thursday at 10. We have a very, very special episode coming to you guys. Not this week, but next week.
Yes, sir.
Same time, Thursday at 10.
Yes, sir.
Y'all got to be watching out for that one.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be the biggest episode we've ever put out.
Should we announce it?
Huge.
Should we announce it or should we wait?
Announce it in a post.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll announce it in a post.
Stay tuned for our special guest.
Check out our Instagram. Probably put it on like our YouTube community tab, so check that out too. It'll be out everywhere. It's gonna be huge for the fellas. We're super excited about it. Super excited about it. I think you guys are gonna really enjoy who we're having on. I think it's gonna be a fun conversation,
He a cool dude for real.
and we're all excited about it. So be checking out for that. We're gonna start putting this out every Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
It will be out at the same time every week. We move some days around, and Pick'em will start being out on Wednesday. As always, drop a like for the boys, drop a comment for the boys, and bang that sub button. Bang it
FTS to the moon.
to the moon. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.